judge looking at this. Now, this judge has no skin in the game. This is an Article III federal judge with life tenure.
You're bringing it over here to show me. I believe
who's going to be looking at this. That judge is going to give it an extra level of scrutiny to make sure that, you know, this is the check on the executive branch, on the FBI, to say, I want to make sure you're not up to something, you know, that you're not supposed to be doing. So I think at every level, particularly given the target, particularly given that, you know, there was an election that was underway, careful scrutiny.
Jeffrey, of course, when you hear the word wiretap, if you followed the news or the election or the president at all, you know where everyone's mind goes to the tweet that he put out in March that created such a problem for him and created so much confusion. Does anything in this that you see coming out in this report, does anything that we've learned now overnight and today, does anything contradict what the FBI and the Justice Department put out in their statements in response to the president's tweets, essentially saying that they have no information that supports those tweets?
Right. I mean, the most important tweet that you're talking about is the one where he said,
President Obama had my wires tapped
in Trump Tower. There is nothing in this report that suggests President Obama had his wires tapped in Trump Tower. The only possibility, it seems, is that Trump's voice was picked up on a wiretap of Paul Manafort's phone somewhere, whether in Trump Tower or on his cell phone, or you know, most taps at this point are on cell phones, not on landlines. So, no, it does not vindicate this tweet by Trump earlier this year. And it is worth pointing out that Director Comey, the Department of Justice more recently, have all said that there was no surveillance.
The Department of Justice under Jeff Sessions says that they do not. I think the statement was, we confirm that there are no records related to wiretaps as described by the March 4th, 2017 tweets.
Which seems pretty categorical to me.
Asha, give me a final thought.
Well, I think that, Lordy, there are tapes. And so to the extent that there are associates of the Trump campaign who have been captured in some of these communications, we know that they are going in to some of these committees to talk, and those statements that they make can be prosecuted if they're false. And they may be called to testify in front of a grand jury or even become targets of Mueller's investigation. So I think this changes the game a little bit in terms of both putting pressure on people who may have something to add, and definitely on Manafort, because, you know, and I think that Trump has way more information to give, and the general angle that Mueller is doing is, I think, is to provide more information on the intelligence front.
Thank you so much. Republicans face very big problem of European blackness and Obamacare. Let's look down to, and quickly now, one Republican senator votes against. Right back.
I like the way they say they're giving Netflix away for free. They're paying fucking $20 a fucking line. You know, and you gotta have a minimum of 4 lines in order to get Netflix. That's a $160 bill.
Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network. If you got Medicare Parts A and B and want more coverage, guess what? Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan. No enrollment, no waiting to apply. That means now may be a great time to shop for an Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan. United Healthcare Insurance Company. Medicare doesn't cover everything. And like all standardized Medicare Supplement Insurance plans, these help cover something that Medicare doesn't pay. So don't wait. Call now and request your free decision guide. It can help you find the Medicare Supplement plan that will keep you paid. These types of plans have no networks, so you can choose any doctor who accepts Medicare patients. The rates are competitive. They're the only plans of their kind endorsed by Medicare. Remember, these plans are around. So call today, because now's the perfect time to look for Will you schedule a Save My Auto Gas? a long time to get to the top. But with America's best broker, limited warranty, the all-new Volkswagen Tiguan will be there every step of the way.
And with the knee sliding.
Just need to check your credit.
To the bottom, a dozen seconds. Good choice. Great job with that.
Credit Karma.
Very good job.
How can Credit Karma save you money?
Oh, I just got charged for credit line. Credit Karma. It's great.
Oh, he missed that kick.
Free credit monitoring.
Free Credit Karma. Get it now.
I'm Jesse. Got that.
That's a kick. Combination.
Last daily contacts. First 2 weeks free.
What power that guy has in his hands.
Adam Louisiana. New tonight at 10. Can Bosley regrow your hair? This is my own road.
Time's out for our fight. Listen to the replay. This is the shot that drops him. Perfect technique. He's clearly hurt badly here. Let's take a look at it one more time. Here's the knockdown. Vicious strike.
I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair
Great
up.
aim
I
here.
mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel. Put my hair down. Go out on
And
his
now we're into the position. Here's Bosley.
Regrow your hair.
This is my hair. This is my hair.
No obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now. This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
At the top of the hour, Senate Republicans will be meeting behind closed doors for their weekly lunch. The lunch, not a surprise. I don't know the menu, I can't tell you. But the topic at hand is a bit of one. A last-ditch effort to pass an overhaul of Obamacare. It's called the Graham-Cassidy bill. Graham and Cassidy both came on this show to unveil their plans here just over the summer. But since then, the effort didn't really go anywhere. Or did it? Speaker Paul Ryan is now calling it the best last chance for Republicans to fulfill their 7-year campaign promise to repeal Obamacare. But the clock, it always is, it seems, on Capitol Hill, is ticking on this one in a very big way. CNN's Ryan Nobles is on Capitol Hill watching all the movement here. So, Ryan, what are you hearing right now? Are the votes there?
Kate, if this seems like a report we did for you about a month ago, that's because it's exactly the case. In fact, you could probably find one of those and just hit play, and we'd essentially be in the same exact spot. We're at a razor thin margin.
But it's so much fun for you to do it again.
Exactly. We're essentially at a razor thin margin here. Republicans trying to push through another health care reform bill. This one's slightly different than the one that they presented about 2 months ago. But again, essentially it's the same group of players that we're keeping an eye on. And right now, our whip count is pretty fluid. There's a whole bunch of senators who remain in the undecided camp. Only one senator right now, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, is an outright no. But these other senators that... voted no in the past. Senator John McCain, Senator Susan Collins, they are definitely in the leaning no camp right now, trying to be won over by the supporters of this bill, Lindsey Graham and Bill Cassidy. And then there's other senators like Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, who is being very cautious in her approach to this. She wants to see the bill play out before making any kind of a definitive decision. The big difference here, though, Kate, is that we may not get a full score from the Congressional Budget Office for several weeks. In fact, the score may not come until after the September 30th deadline, which is crucial to the passage of this bill, which means a lot of these senators will be flying blind in terms of the real impact of this bill long term. But both Lindsey Graham and Bill Cassidy are trying to convince them that they know their numbers are strong, that this is a viable alternative, that it will be better for their individual states because of the flexibility this is going to allow states in terms of block grants. And they believe that they can eventually push this over the finish line. But, Kate, just like it was 2 months ago,
It's a middleweight matchup
It is going to be very close. It's going to be very close because not only the timeline, but what is in the bill is similar, but it is not the same from the bills that have been proposed and pushed and failed in the past. Lay it out. What's in this bill? What's different this time? What's very much the same?
Yeah, well, let's talk about what's the same. And one of the reasons that we're going to have a hard time pushing through Democratic support is because it is pretty much a wholesale repeal of Obamacare. It's going to get rid of things like the individual mandate, which is a core tenet of Obamacare. It's going to say even place some of the aspects like Obamacare what it is. Now, what it does do, which is completely different, is it takes the bulk of this funding and wraps it up into individualized block grants that will then be issued out to the states, and that will give the governor some level of control as to how they will issue their Medicare payments. Now, the reason that they're making this pitch to these individual governors is because they feel that there's a funding imbalance right now in terms of healthcare, especially through Obamacare, where there's a small group of states, highly populated states, that are getting the bulk of the funding. The pitch they're making, particularly to a senator like Dean Heller, who is, of course, always on the fence and a no-voter president, that Nevada would be better
Fight scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds.
put it in the hands of the governors, they'll be able to make use of the money for their individual citizens. Of course, the problem is, Kate, that there are still Medicare cuts in this bill. That's one of the reasons that Susan Collins of Maine has been reluctant to get behind it in its support. The Democrats still feel that these core tenets of the bill that rip away the things that they feel Obamacare are now gone, and that's one of the reasons that it's going to be done with all Republican support. And keep in mind, Kate,
He's got him in his guard.
if it passes the Senate with that razor-thin margin of only 50 votes, it then has to go to the House and will likely not be able to be changed. So the members of the House will have to vote on it as is if they want to pass it. And right now, we have no idea what the House will do about this bill as it currently stands.
We have no idea how.
Joey versus
Not a lot of time to deal with it. Ryan Noble watching it all. I appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you so much. All right, let's talk about Ryan Noble, commentator and analyst, former Republican senator and president of Doug Hines, former Democratic staff commentator and presidential campaign, and used to dig all the
That was a close guillotine.
I must start with you because you were very much involved in the conception of the healthcare plan. No matter how great the policy is in your mind, there is a very important thing that is missing, as Brian pointed out. The official score from the official scorekeeper of the White House. Why are you okay with moving ahead with the vote without knowing the full impact?
Well, a couple things. First off, CBO has communicated to the Republican sponsors of the bill that they will have a score in time for there to be a score for the final vote. That there's only 2 chunks to this bill. One, as we mentioned before, is the per capita cap on Medicaid, which was scored by CBO. Some changes to it. And that score is known, it's out there, it's been there for months. The other part is the taxes are repealed under this are the taxes on employers and it's about $250 billion in tax. It's not small, but it's already related to the employer-employee mandate. The rest is blocking off the stock. The score in block grant that states going to get. So there really isn't a
look at some of the action from that round.
Bill, which has already been scored. It doesn't take a rocket science to kind of add those figures up to actually vote on this, but CBO is CBO, and they're saying we need these. I just reject that notion. I think we can pretty well decide based on the information we already have.
Do you think that's going to be good enough for skeptical Republicans?
Well, I think Susan Collins is the main one who's been concerned about the CBS, right? So, people here.
That last round was absolutely insane. This round gets off to anything like the last round. One of these guys is going out. I can't imagine a scenario where they left off in the last round, one of these guys is going to be down.
But you still have, Rand Paul's pretty entrenched, and then that just leaves Collins and Murkowski, and Collins is going to raise their look, the rest of the people don't actually seem to care that much about the CBO score because they've not really had CBO scores, and they basically seem okay. I mean, bad.
And now it's back to full guard.
So many people.
There you see guys right there.
And I think for Republicans, that's not really a concern. It's about decide what they want to do, and it's very unpredictable. What are they going to do with the block grants? We don't really know what that means in terms of people.
You keep shaking your head. What are you shaking your head about?
Well, I just can't believe
That's a vicious kick.
You don't make a sequel to a movie that bombed at the box office. Here, the Republicans are pushing a sequel to a Trump era. Following regulated order. So if John McCain is going to be consistent with the basis he did for why he voted against this bill last time,
let's check out the action. Listen to the replay. This is the shot that drops the perfect technique. Clearly in big trouble. Look at it from another angle here. This is the one that causes the knockdown and the subsequent follow-up strike for the knockdown. And let's see if we can get a better look at it from a different angle.
So I didn't think it was possible to help build this less.
Here is Rosie
Buffalo. Making an effort here. Brian. Actually what I can tell you is that other than the money that is taken out because of the employer mandate, all the other money is basically going out to the states. If the states want to put an employer mandate, if the state of California wants to do an employer and individual mandate, they can and recapture all that money. So what does that mean? The California would get a lot of their money back. They don't have to put up a 10% match. You didn't mention that our bill actually doesn't require the state to put up a 10% match in order to get their funds. Secondly, we also allow for 15 and up to actually between 15 and 20% of the second block grant, the block grant that was Obamacare spending, to be used to help the basic Medicaid program. So states will have the flexibility, if there is a shortfall in the traditional Medicaid program, they can actually use money from the other block grant, which doesn't require a match. Medicaid does require a match to be able to help out. So and they'll have flexibility to be able to deal with both of those populations. So the idea that there's less money, yes, some states like Massachusetts and California and Oregon, about 5 or 6 states that are very high cost and expensive Medicaid states, will get less money under this bill. Almost every other state will do better. Why? Because they run more efficient programs. What about they aren't as costly?
What about
Louisiana?
Hold on a second.
Louisiana will be fine. Sponsor the bill.
Hold on a second. Let me bring in Doug on this, because one of the things that we've heard from senators who haven't been able to say where they land right now, Doug, is that they need to learn more. That they need to learn more about the bill. They need to know more about the bill. And I do wonder, is there some benefit to the fact that the country has not been talking about this health care plan and been very focused. The news cycle, and not just the news cycle, but the elected officials, the White House, everyone has been distracted, if you will, and focused elsewhere, not on healthcare, on many other things. North Korea, hurricanes. Is there a benefit that the eyes of the country might not be on this healthcare debate to getting this through?
Well, I think the eyes of the country have been on the healthcare debate for 7 years now. We've heard so many times from Democrats that Republicans have been focused like this on 7 years and been unable to do anything. Frankly, they're right, which is why I think that this is a kind of an Elvis Presley moment for Republicans right now. It is now or it is never. We have a September 30th deadline. We've tried to do things in the past and failed. I can tell you in 2014 when I worked on repeal and replace.
It's now or never on a right, but it's now or never on a 50 vote. It's not now or never on getting something done. You just need to deal with the regular order, which is a 60-vote threshold.
Right. I don't have high hopes on anything bipartisan on healthcare happening in the meantime, but we can talk about good and bad sequels. You know, the Hillary 2008 campaign was a terrible movie, and we saw the even worse sequel in 2012. We had grown-ups and grown-ups too. This happens in politics actually all the time. But if you're Republicans and you've been campaigning on this for 7 years, this is the time to act.
Right, but if you're also a Republican senator who didn't like some of the things that are in this bill in previous renditions, and then you're now going to be expected to vote for it in this bill, that can be a tough pill to swallow. What do you say to Rand Paul, Senator, who says this is Obamacare and just redistributes the money to Republican states instead of Democratic states?
Yeah, actually, I have a piece coming out on CNN.com, which will be posted here momentarily, that actually responds to Rand Paul in great detail. So
give us a preview.
The preview is that Rand Paul says this doesn't repeal Obamacare. Okay, what doesn't it repeal? As Brian said, they're right. The Medicaid expansion, it goes away. We repeal Medicaid expansion at the end of 2019. The tax credits and the cost sharing reduction payments to insurance companies to go away. In the mandate to buy insurance goes away. The mandate for employers to provide insurance goes away. All of these things, everything that Obamacare is, goes away and is repealed and is replaced by a system that says we are going to equally apportion money based on 50 to 138% of poverty to every state. So California's poor people are going to get the same amount of money as New Hampshire's. That's a fair system, not what Obamacare is today.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. We will see where this goes. Still, are the votes there? No one has an answer for that at this very moment. Thank you guys so much. Coming up for us, all eyes are on Hurricane Maria after the storm devastated islands already in its path in the already hard-hit Caribbean. Where is Maria headed next? It is a Category 5 still. Stay with me.
Introducing Lean 13 from Nutrisystem. Lose up to 13 pounds in your first month, guaranteed.
Lose up to 13 pounds fast with the new Lean 13 from Nutrisystem.
Your 13 can turn into 20, 30, 50, even more. I'm Marie and I lost 50 pounds on Nutrisystem. You'll see results right away. Count, measure, meetings? No, not with Nutrisystem.
Order your 28-day plan right now and we'll rush you Lean 13. Get specially designed meals, plus 1 week of new Nutri-Crush bars to crush cravings free. And 1 week of Turbo Shakes to bust belly bloat free.
Bye-bye, stubborn belly fat.
Call or go online in the next 2 minutes and we'll even throw in FedEx shipping free. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall your first month.
Your first 13 pounds? Gone.
Go online or call 888-902-THIN right now and get new Lean 13 with bars and shakes free.
Technology gives you security. Technology gives you control. And now, technology gives you home security and control in a new and revolutionary way. Introducing Plug and Protect from LiveWatch Security, an easy-to-use wireless security system powered by Alarm.com, controlled from any smartphone, tablet, or computer, and monitored by professionals 24/7. Go to LiveWatch.com to get Plug and Protect interactive security delivered to your door. Arm or disarm your system from anywhere. Lock or unlock your doors. Turn your lights off or on. Even oversee your home with live video. With Plug and Protect, your security system is configured, tested, and then shipped directly to your home. No wires, no installers. Powered by Alarm.com. Go to LiveWatch.com because with Plug and Protect, we customize your security to fit your home. The Plug and Protect secret is technology. With technology, you buy airline tickets without a travel agent. You trade stocks without a stockbroker. Now with Plug and Protect, you can protect your home without an installer, pushy salesman, or a long contract.
Every day, the kids got out of school before I left work. I worried whether they were home okay. But then I found Plug and Protect from LiveWatch. see when they open the front door, so I know they're home safe. LiveWatch helps me stay in touch and in control.
Founded by a paramedic in Kansas, serving tens of thousands of homes in all 50 states, and trusted by policemen and firemen throughout the country, LiveWatch is the new choice for home security. No door-to-door salespeople, no messy installers, no long-term contracts, just plug and protect. Now you too can enjoy the home security and control you want for your family. Try LiveWatch in your home today. No long-term contracts, cancel at any time. Plus, order now and receive a free keychain remote and free shipping. So go to livewatch.com right now. That's livewatch.com. Patrick woke up with back pain, but he has work to do, so he took a leave. If you're taking Tylenol, you'd be stopping for more pills right now. Only Aleve has the strength to stop tough pain for up to 12 hours with just one pill. Aleve, all day strong.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-831-3700.
Welcome to Inside Politics. I'm John King. Thanks for sharing your day with us. President Trump's United Nations debut includes his America First trademark, rebukes of Iran and Syria, and this colorful but blunt warning to North Korea.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
Plus, stunning new details of the Russia meddling investigation. CNN has learned the former Trump campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, was the subject of an FBI wiretap at a time he was known to be in touch with candidate, President-elect, and President Trump.
We know that there was enough concern to get the first wiretap. We know there was enough concern to go back and get a second permission for a wiretap. We know that the FBI has broken into his home and in appropriate legal fashion and taken all of the records.
And one last time, Senate Republicans are voting too short as they try to pass a new health care plan that would shift big decisions to the states and allow insurance companies to drop some coverage now mandated under Obamacare.
You're going to be facing a binary choice, leaving 100% of Obamacare in place or taking what we can get and then working with the governors long term.
We begin the hour with President Trump's first address to the United Nations General Assembly and his deliberate choice to hold out North Korea and Iran for his most harsh words. Kim Jong-un wants to be accepted as a nuclear power. The President of the United States, an hour or so ago, standing before the world community, says never, and added a threat.
No one has shown more contempt for other nations and for the well-being of their own people than the depraved regime in North Korea. No nation on earth has an interest in seeing this band of criminals arm itself with nuclear weapons. The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. The United States is ready, willing, and able, but hopefully this will not be necessary.
No uncertain terms there from the president or in his description of the Iranian regime.
The Iranian government masks a corrupt dictatorship behind the false guise of a democracy. It has turned a wealthy country with a rich history and culture into an economically depleted rogue state.
Tough talk from the president, but he left unanswered a giant question. Is he prepared to follow through on his campaign promise and shred the Iran nuclear deal?
The Iran deal was one of the worst and most one-sided transactions the United States has ever entered into. Frankly, that deal is an embarrassment to the United States, and I don't think you've heard the last of it, believe me.
With us to share their reporting and their insights, Julie Hirschfeld-Davis of the New York Times, Sahil Kapoor of Bloomberg Politics, the Wall Street Journal's Michael Bender, and Eliana Johnson from Politico. What did we hear from the president that matters most? It was remarkable to see a leader of any country, but the president of the United States, standing in the well of the United Nations General Assembly, threatening to totally destroy, not retaliate, not hurt, not isolate, not prove a point, totally destroy a country. What do we make of that?
Well, I mean, I think clearly you have to focus on the sort of starkness of that threat and how strongly he came out against North Korea. His, very strong hints that he is willing to pull out of the Iran deal. I think we'll learn more about that in the next couple of weeks and probably in mid-October. But also, I mean, this speech was important for what it showed us about the president's vision of his sort of America First philosophy, that he is not budging from this idea that, the correct way to go about geopolitics and diplomacy is for the American people, America, to take care of itself, for other countries to take care of themselves. He's focused on outcomes, not on sort of the global ideals that we've heard former American presidents talk about at the United Nations, and it's a very different vision than the one we've seen before. And I think his object in his speech was really to sort of drive that home. But the toughness here is what I think the president wanted everyone to take away. And, he certainly didn't mince words, and he obviously didn't back away from that Rocket Man tweet that he issued over the weekend. And I think really sort of enjoys the idea that the world is going to see him making fun of Kim Jong-un, and he's okay with that.
Yeah, he's definitely coming away with a headline here. Very Trumpian language, and if there's a success immediately from the speech is that he's going to get the exact headlines that he wanted out of this. There's just tough talk on North Korea, and it also is kind of seeing the arc now after 8-9 months in office, where he came in office very tough on North Korea, sort of then met with Xi down in Mar-a-Lago and sort of took a different tack. Thought maybe diplomacy was the way forward on this. Then after a few rockets we're back to Rocket Man. Not back to Rocket Man, but that signals sort of back to a very tough rhetoric from his president.
At a certain level, it felt a little bit like a campaign speech. I think his supporters would have loved that bellicose talk about North Korea and about Iran and about Assad, but what was missing, I think, was a connective tissue toward a strategy. What is the path forward? How do you achieve the things you're talking about? With North Korea, is he going to follow through on this talk of the threats he's making and the potential for war? That would be a disaster in many ways. He's also talking about potentially escalating pressure on China, possibly even a trade war. That's not going to help his promises of economic growth. He's talking tough about Bashar al-Assad in Syria while he wants to pull back and move U.S. troops out of the Middle East. He's also talking about resettling refugees in their home while wanting to cut foreign aid. So there are a lot of questions there, and there's some conflicts, I think, that have yet to be resolved.
I almost think that the headlines about North Korea are overshadowing what Julie alluded to, which is the emergence of a sort of Trump doctrine that we saw between the inaugural address, the president's speech in Warsaw, and the speech today. I think if you put them together, you are getting a sense he's given his most coherent statements in these big addresses that are watched by and listened to countries around the world. And I think the thrust of it is the healthcare scholar Yuval Levin, I think, put it best. He's telling nations that building up walls around them and reasserting sovereignty is the best way to kind of break down the walls between people, and he is reasserting a sense of American identity and encouraging other nations to do the same. That's what he told the Poles when he went to Poland, and encouraging all other countries around the world to reassert their patriotism as well.
Kim Jong-un is not there. The North Korean delegation was. He would assert, the North Koreans would assert, they're doing what they think is best for their sovereignty. That's where the conflict comes in, that they want to be accepted in the world community. They think the way to do that, I'm not excusing their belligerence, defying United Nations resolutions, defying their own past agreements, but that's where the push comes to shove. When you have a president of the United States saying totally destroy, at some point, is the president going to have to back up those words?
Well, I think what you heard him say here is no talk about spreading democracy the way you heard a President Bush or even a Bill Clinton talk, 10 years ago, but that there are certain nations that threaten the well-being of the community of nations. You're not hearing him talk about a global citizenship or a global community, but a community of nation-states. That is why the UN was founded, and that people may need to act if there are nations that threaten the well-being of the wider community. What's unclear is how and when.
Right, do your business, just don't cross certain lines. It's sort of the way the president's saying. What's interesting is the reaction You don't see this every day. Mitt Romney praising the President of the United States. Other people out there in the conservative media saying, thank you, Mr. President, for laying out, to your point, a clear, coherent set of standards of how you will go forward in the world. Democrats not so. This is Dianne Feinstein. The goals of the United Nations are to foster peace and promote global cooperation. Today, the President used it as a stage to threaten war. He aims to unify the world through tactics of intimidation, but in reality only further isolates the United States. So now that the President has been more clear about his doctrine, if you want to call it that, in front of the global community, now we're going to have a fight about it.
The lack of nation building, the talk against nation building and focusing on the United States, I think has a lot of support on the left and the right. I think as far as the Iran deal goes, this is another area where I think his actions remain to be seen how he's going to go forward with it. He attacked it pretty strongly. He said it was an embarrassment, but he has not withdrawn from the deal yet, because I think he has advisors who say the risk if you do that is that Iran's path to a bomb begins more quickly.
You may not like Iran's behavior under the deal, but you might get a much more aggressive Iran outside of the deal, which I found that interesting. Yes, by his language, it sounds like you just wait. You know, the language makes you sound like you wait, now I'm going to back and pull out of it. The Israelis certainly wanted the president to do that in this speech. The president has said that repeatedly, though. At every deadline that has come up during his presidency, they have recertified Iran. So we don't know where that one's going. That tug-of-war continues, right?
Well, absolutely. And I mean, I think one of the reasons you're hearing some Republican praise for this speech from mainstream Republicans who have criticized the president in the past, especially, is because, you know, he did do what he did in his Afghanistan speech. He did do what he did in his joint address to Congress, which is he read the speech. He didn't go off script that much. I don't know whether Rocket Man was on the teleprompter, but he pretty much stuck to what he wanted to say.
Until they added that today. Of course, the president added that because the president tweeted out over the weekend.
But you didn't hear these long rambling diversions that go into territory that have Republicans sort of, you know, clutching their pearls. So, in that regard, I think they thought he succeeded. I do think there is an issue here, and the Iran deal is an example, but certainly North Korea as well. The president laid out very clear kind of lines in the sand, and this is my limit, and I won't tolerate this, and I won't tolerate that, and this deal is horrible. But we didn't get a very good sense of, like, okay, so what? And what is his philosophy for resolving those issues? And I think that's what really remains to be seen.
And let's just listen a little bit more to the point you made at the beginning of the conversation about this. You know, we've heard a lot of, if you're here, if you follow the campaign, if you follow the news in the United States every day, you've heard the president say this before, but this is his first time speaking to the General Assembly, a gathering of the global community, the president taking what was a campaign slogan, America First, and making it a foreign policy principle.
I will always put America first. Just like you, as the leaders of your countries, will always and should always put your countries first. But we can no longer be taken advantage of or enter into a one-sided deal where the United States gets nothing in return.
That's a clever use of words by the president. There are a lot of people around the world who said that's arrogant, you know, it's isolationist, it's too, you know, Trump trying to push the world around. He said, that's what I'm elected to do. That's what you're elected to do. You should put your own people first. That's a very well way to get his point across, but in a way that's hard to object to.
Yeah, right. And this is sort of like the gift of Donald Trump. I've talked about it before, is that you can kind of listen to Trump and take out what you like and hear what you want to hear with this president. I'd agree that this is a very Trumpian speech. The adding of the Rocket Man in there, I mean, it gives the Trump flourishes are undeniable. But this is where the confusion is going to come up, and what he means in the details, right? I mean, what is and he essentially is framing himself as the moral arbiter here, and do best what's for your country, and will decide if that's if that's appropriate.
I want to put in one other thing about mostly what was not said. We're looking for and told by some people in the administration they had hoped the president, in the part about North Korea, would thank China and Russia for their support of the Security Council, but then ask them to do more. Now, thank you for that, but now you need to step up. Stop the open trade, stop the black market trade with North Korea. The president did not do that. But he did elsewhere in the speech take a bit of a shot at both Moscow and Beijing.
We must reject threats to sovereignty from the Ukraine to the South China Sea.
Relatively gentle language, but he put it on the record there. This is from a president, again, if you go back and look at What did he say in the campaign, and what did he say in his first speech to the world community at the United Nations? You know, he has not labeled China a currency manipulator. He has not ripped up NAFTA. He's trying to renegotiate it. He's adding troops in Afghanistan as opposed to withdrawing from that part of the world. But there, he did at least go on the record on some of the other issues that can get prickly in those two big relationships.
The general tone he struck is very consistent with the talk of, you know, how he viewed the world and how he talked about foreign policy during the campaign. And he's playing to this notion that many Americans have, that the United States is overextended around the world, that it does too much, that it's trying to police things and protect too many people at a cost that is not beneficial to them. Whether that is true is certainly a matter for debate, and a lot of people don't agree with that. But I think there is, I guess, a gut political level, a lot of Americans feel that, and I think that's what he was playing to. As far as his warnings to China, China is, you know, as North Korea experts know, the biggest point of leverage the United States has, because it does about I think North Korea has about $3 to $4 billion per year in exports and imports, most of it with China. It's already the most isolated nation around the world, so there's a limited amount that can be done, but if anything can be done, it's China.
I think the major shift that we're seeing in terms of ideology, especially, I think it actually began with Obama, was that the whole notion of the post-World War II international era, when the U.S. replaced the U.K. as the major international power, was that taking on outside responsibilities in the world, paying the vast majority of dues at international organizations like the UN, was actually in the U.S. interests. And it was good for the U.S. to do that sort of thing, even though it happened to benefit other countries as well. And Trump is saying that's not the case. I think you heard some of that with Obama as well. And that's a huge shift. And if it actually plays out, you know, you heard people like George W. Bush argue that spreading democracy abroad was actually in the U.S. interest. We had to do that. It was a self-protective measure. And if we see Trump pull back and continue the rollback that began with Obama, that will really be an enormous shift in strategy and in strategic thinking.
It was an undoubted repudiation of neoconservatism, or at least what we come to know.
That's a good point. The question now is what comes from it. Front and center for me, at least in the process. How does Pyongyang respond to the tough words of the president today? We'll see that up next. Mind-boggling damage. That's what Dominican Prime Minister says after Hurricane Maria, slammed the island overnight. Now Puerto Rico bracing for a hit as well.
Mom, I just saved a lot of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico.
I should take a closer look at Geico. You know Geico can help you save money on your homeowner's insurance too?
Great. Geico can help insure a mountain chalet.
How long have we been sawing this log? 114 years. Man, I thought my arm would be a lot more jacked by now. I'm not even sure this is real wood.
There's no butter in this churn.
Do my tries look okay? Take a closer look at Geico. Great savings and a whole lot more.
Managing blood sugar is a series of smart choices. And when you replace one meal or snack a day with Lucerna, made with carb steady to help minimize blood sugar spikes, you can really feel it. Now with 30% less carbs and sugars. Lucerna.
Breaking down the walls in my own mind, keeping my faith for the bad times. Get up, stand like a champion. Take it to the world, gonna sing it like an anthem.
BMW 320i sedan for $279 a month.
If you battle chronic back pain or joint pain, turn it on with Icy Hot Smart Relief. Among leading brands, only Smart Relief is indicated to relieve chronic pain. Imagine the difference it'll make in your life. Turn off chronic pain with Icy Hot Smart Relief.
Have you been diagnosed with spinal stenosis, bulging or herniated disc, sciatica, or other chronic spine conditions? Are you ready to find lasting relief? Call Laser Spine Institute, the nation's leader in minimally invasive spine surgery, to learn how a less than 1-inch incision can have you up and walking within a few hours of surgery, free from chronic back pain, and with no hospital stay and no lengthy recovery.
Call 1-800-216-BACK now for your no-cost MRI review.
Take your first step in joining over 60,000 patients who found lasting relief at Laser Spine Institute.
When you're in that much pain and you live on painkillers, you really don't have quality of life. I feel like Laser Spine Institute was an answer to prayer. The heavens had opened up and it was like, I can live again.
If you've been told you might need neck or back surgery, call 1-800-216-BACK now for your no-cost MRI review. Laser Spine Institute, a less than 1-inch incision, a lifetime of standing tall.
At Ally, we're doing digital financial services right. But if that's not enough, we have 7,500 allies looking out for one thing. You.
Call in the next 10 minutes to stay.
And if that's not enough, we'll look after your every dollar.
Put down the phone.
And if that's not enough, we'll look after your every cent.
Grab your wallet.
Access denied.
And if that's still not enough to help you save,
Ooh, I need this.
we'll just bring out the snowplow.
You don't need those.
We'll do anything, seriously, anything to help our customers.
Thanks.
Ally, do it right.
QuickBooks introduces Jeanette and her new business, I Do To Go. Jeanette was excellent at marrying people, but had trouble getting paid. Not a good time, Jeanette. Even worse. Now I'm uncomfortable. But here's the good news. Jeanette got QuickBooks. Send that invoice, Jeanette. Looks like they viewed it. And ta-da! Paid twice as fast. Ah, she's an efficient officiant.
Hey, baby.
Jeanette. You get paid twice as fast for free. Visit QuickBooks.com.
Were you making something to eat?
We believe in food that's naturally beautiful, fresh, and nutritious. So there are no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial preservatives in any of the food we sell. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
Hi, I'm Jesse. And I'm Ben. We started Hubble because contact lenses are too expensive. At Hubble, our fresh daily contacts are affordable and delivered straight to you. Get your first 2 weeks free at HubbleContacts.com.
Wow, dramatic pictures there. Hurricane Maria already battering islands in the Caribbean, like Guadeloupe. That video shows the aftermath, including some flooding. You see that pictures there. Overnight, the powerful storm also slammed into Dominica, causing widespread devastation. Hurricane Maria now on track to pound Puerto Rico as early as tonight. All of this less than 2 weeks after Hurricane Irma devastated some of the same areas. Let's get to CNN meteorologist Chad Myers. Chad, I love you, but I'm seeing too much of you lately.
I know, John. I'm sorry, buddy. And the people of Puerto Rico don't want to see me either, because this is a brutal storm that moved over, as you said, Dominica and Guadeloupe overnight. This thing went from a Category 1 to a Category 5 in 15 hours. We call that rapid intensification. It can happen anywhere. The threat is that it happens in the Gulf of Mexico when you go to bed one night in Houston or Galveston or wherever, and you're looking at a TS, and by morning you got a Cat 3. That's what could happen. That's what happened here. The water is very warm. There was no shear. There was nothing to tear the storm apart, and it got all the way to a 160-mile-per-hour storm. Now the forecast is here, Puerto Rico, also for Coimbra and Vieques, and even into St. Croix for a Category 4, 155-mile-per-hour storm making landfall tomorrow morning. Now the cone is still over the entire island of Puerto Rico. Could be north or south, could be Ponce, could be up toward the Conquistador Resort. It could essentially miss the northeast corner of Puerto Rico still, but that would take it right into the U.S. Virgin Islands, so you really have to watch what you ask for. The U.S. Virgin Islands already so significantly torn up. The threat here, John, there's 3.4 million Americans living on this island right here. Already 70% were without power with Irma, and Irma was a miss. Irma missed the island. This, I don't see it missing at all, and if it's a Cat 4 or Cat 5, right in that ballpark. They may be without power for a very long time, and without water as well. If you're watching in Puerto Rico right now, you have a couple things you can still do. You can put water in every vessel you own, any pot, pan, bathtub.
Baby, hand me that beer in there, please.
And also be prepared to live without electricity for a long time. And also washing your hands. I find the most important thing I can do
Have you drank 2 beers or what?
is have some kind of handy wipes. Because after days without water, all you want to do is clean your hands off. And those handy wipes are quite handy. John?
Important help from Chad Myers. Chad will stay in touch throughout the days ahead. Obviously, appreciate it very much. Guadeloupe hit, Dominica hit, Puerto Rico hasn't seen landfall by a major hurricane since 1998. The last time a Category 5 storm hit the island, back in 1928. Let's bring in CNN's Leila Santiago. She's in Loíza, Puerto Rico. Well, Leila, what are you seeing, and what are local officials telling you to prepare for?
Well, right now they're actually saying some of the same things you just heard. Get ready because this could be big, could be catastrophic, could be devastating. The rain has been coming and going. You can see behind me the ocean. This is the ocean. We are in the northern part of the island, and this is pretty typical right now. We are in Loíza. This is an area that is known for its food, its nightlife. As a matter of fact, you can see some of the buildings are pretty much empty. There's not much of a line there. Where you see the line here is for ice. All of these people are in line for ice right now, and they're actually limiting the amount of ice that people can take back home. This is what they need to keep their food in the refrigerators. Now, this is Mayra. She's been in line for quite some time. ¿Cuánto tiempo llevas aquí? Ya llevo 2 horas aquí esperando. She's been in line for 2 hours. ¿Y en tu casa hay luz? Sí, todavía hay luz. She has power at home, but many of the residents here actually don't have power. That is one of the biggest concerns, given that Puerto Rico's power system is lacking maintenance. ¿Y cuánto te vas a llevar? ¿Cuántas bolsas? She's going to take 2 bags of ice. ¿Y eso es para qué? Para conservar los alimentos que tengo en el refrigerador. So she needs that in order to conserve, to use the food. They're telling us to go because everyone's in line waiting for the exact same thing. But you'll see the ice comes here, and everybody I've spoken to in this line tells me that they're coming here after having been to several stores, several pharmacies, anywhere on the island where they can try to find ice generators, those basic supplies that you need to get through a hurricane, and a hurricane like this, where again, officials, the governor, the head of emergency management are using words like catastrophic, devastating, and one that will hit hard, making direct landfall. John?
Hitting hard and hitting too soon after Irma also sent a scare to the region. Leila Santiago and Loíza for us. Leila, thank you very much. Appreciate the reporting. Coming up, extraordinary news. CNN reporting on the Russian investigation involving a high-ranking Trump campaign official. That's CNN exclusive. Up next.
Taxpayers have rights. Do you know your rights? We do. We're Community Tax. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled returns, or have received one of these, you need our help immediately. The IRS is now more aggressive than ever, and even using private debt collectors to collect back taxes. With our proprietary Fast Action Response Program, Community Tax can stop wage garnishments, bank levies, and harassment now. Call Community Tax today at 800-444-1026 for a free, no-obligation case analysis. Who's your tax guy?
Beyond is a natural pet food that goes beyond assuming ingredients are safe to knowing they are. Going beyond expectations because our pets deserve it. Beyond natural pet food.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-885-1950 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-885-1950 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-885-1950.
Introducing the all-new Volkswagen Tiguan, the new king of the concrete jungle.
We are the TV doctors of America. We may not know much about medicine, but we know a lot about trauma. We also know that you're
What's up, Andre?
So
go, know, and take control.
Fixing my little Ultimate Team female up a little bit.
All the way. The untold story of the
You know what I'm saying?
a notorious narco-terrorist comes to light.
You know, gotta make her look feminine. You know, Bad bitch.
Classified. Saturday night at 9 on CNN.
Can
I gotta do this leg.
your hair?
What a pain in the ass.
My own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I have achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date, and have confidence again.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
Legion of Brothers premieres Sunday night at 9 on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by Simmons Hanley Conroy. Call 1-800-891-1300.
If you have mesothelioma, call Simmons Hanley Conroy. Billions have been set aside to pay asbestos victims. Call Simmons Hanley Conroy.
1-800-891-1300. 1-800-891-1300.
Welcome back. Let's turn now to new CNN exclusive reporting on the Russia meddling investigation. We're learning U.S. investigators wiretapped Paul Manafort, President Trump's former campaign chairman. Sources telling CNN that surveillance was approved under secret court orders both before and after the election. Shimon Prokopez is on the CNN investigative team that broke this story. He joins us with the details. A stunning development, the campaign chairman wiretap. Tell us what we know about when this happened and why it's so important to the investigation.
Right, so for take the second part of that, it's important for the investigation, in part because this has all now been shared with the special counsel's team, with Bob Mueller, and his entire team has this. And it's essentially become part of the investigation, and it's certainly the intelligence that they've been working off, and some of the intelligence that the FBI agents have been working through. Keep in mind that the FISAs, these secret warrants that gave the FBI permission to listen in to Manafort, started in 2014 when he was doing some work for a pro-Ukrainian, the Ukrainian government out of Washington, D.C. And there was some suspicious activity that raised concern, and FBI started their investigation, and they went to the FISA court and got these warrants. The warrants have continued for some time. We don't know when it stopped. But what we do know in regards to the Russia meddling investigation, which the former FBI Director James Comey publicly revealed in July when he testified before Congress, that the investigation had started in July. That is when we believe, sometime around then, that the FBI asked for another FISA warrant. It's not clear exactly when they started listening in on Manafort's conversations in the Russian meddling investigation, if it was while he was as the campaign chairman. But we do know definitively that it went into early this year when Manafort and Trump were still speaking.
Shocking details of the continuing investigation. Shimon, appreciate that exclusive reporting. Meanwhile, the New York Times also has a scoop on Paul Manafort. This one reads a lot like a spy novel. An inside account of a pre-dawn raid where agents picked the locks of Manafort's home and then warned him he's likely to be indicted. Listen to the final paragraph of this piece. To get the warrant, Mr. Mueller's team had to show probable cause that Mr. Manafort's home contained evidence of a crime. To be allowed to pick the lock and enter the home unannounced, prosecutors had to persuade a federal judge Mr. Manafort was likely to destroy the evidence. Let's start the conversation there. You cannot get a FISA warrant, the wiretapping, without going into the secret court and making a case to a judge that somebody is doing something with some foreign actor that raises legitimate suspicion. So you had one, then they went back and got a second one. At a time we know he was talking to then candidate Trump, President-elect Trump, and it continued through President Trump. That's one, the FISA warrant. Then you have the New York Times story. To get a warrant, the guy's in his house, but we're not going to knock.
In bed.
We're going to pick the lock. We're going to pick the lock and go in.
Yeah.
To get that permission, again, you can't just walk into a judge and say, we want to kick the door down. You've got to convince the judge there's something to find, and you're convinced if you knock on the door, he's going to destroy it. What does that tell us?
Well, a couple of caveats, but the FISA court warrant is shocking because in order to get that, it's tremendously difficult. They are top secret,
And you have to show that there's probable cause that this guy is an agent of a foreign power. But the caveat I would make is that it doesn't mean that he was that, or that there's evidence he was acting as such while he was chairman of the Trump campaign. The FBI was investigating him since 2014, and so nonetheless, it does not look good to have a guy for whom there was probable cause he was an agent of a foreign power, whether or not he was, chairing your campaign. So regardless, this is not good for Trump. But I think all along what people thought about the Russian investigation was not that Donald Trump was on the phone colluding with Vladimir Putin, but that he was reckless in terms of the people he allowed to work on his campaign and look the other way regarding the kind of corrupt people he had around him.
And when you see the tough tactics, that tells you, number one, they think they have they can't do this unless they think they have a pretty good case against Mr. Manafort. But number two, the idea that we're going to indict you, you're the target of investigation. Prosecutors do that when they want you to throw up your hands and say, okay, what do you want? Let me cooperate.
Right. I mean, there's two separate issues here, and they're obviously connected. One of them is, as my colleagues reported, part of what the Mueller team is trying to do here is they quoted someone saying, you want to strike terror into the hearts of people, so they cooperate with this investigation, and they understand that you're serious, that you're moving quickly, and that people better tell you the truth, otherwise they're going to, you could be subject to tactics like this. So there's the issue of Manafort and his liability here and his potential wrongdoing, but the thing about the FISA warrants, other than the fact that they were able to be gotten, which indicates that Paul Manafort was doing something that, at least on its face, looked to authorities like it could be or operating on behalf of a foreign power, is that he was talking to Trump during parts of these times. So now the president knows, and his legal team knows, and everyone around him knows that if Paul Manafort ever mentioned anything to do with the campaign with regard to Russia to the president on the phone, this could directly implicate the president. And because they're collecting all this evidence of Paul Manafort's potential wrongdoing in other areas, he has a great incentive to flip. If he didn't have an incentive before, he's going to have a big incentive now.
There was very good new details about that raid today in the New York Times account. The raid itself was reported some time ago. But when that happened, forgive me for interrupting, Michael, jump in here. But when that happened, here's what the president said.
I know Mr. Manafort. I haven't spoken to him in a long time, but I know him. He was with the campaign, as you know, for a very short period of time, relatively short period of time.
Relatively short period of time. He was a very important person in the campaign. He was a key architect of the convention strategy that became campaign chairman. Was not with the campaign a very long period of time. The president's right about that. But when he was there, he was somebody.
When he was there, he was a guy who worked for me. Right? but I mean, let's contrast here what we've seen from from the New York Times. Right? I mean, the point that Julie was making about the tone of of Robert Mueller's team, of this force and precision they're bringing to this, and the heavy hitters they have on this team, and contrast it with the team of lawyers that the president has around him. My colleagues, Peter Nicholas and Rebecca Ballhaus, reported last week that Trump's lawyers were arguing over whether or not they should recommend Kushner step aside for legal reasons, for legal protection for the president. The New York Times has the stunning story that Trump's own attorneys are sitting in a restaurant that's widely known to be populated with New York Times reporters, openly discussing, this case. So sort of the confusion swirling around the Trump campaign, the Trump lawyers team, and sort of the force that Mueller is bringing. Not only is the FISA warrant shocking, like this dichotomy is pretty shocking too.
There's a lot of tension.
The combination of this so-called no-knock warrant from Manafort and the insinuation that, on top of that he has evidence in his home that he would destroy if you knocked on the door, and the idea that they believe he's committed enough of a crime, that's what prosecutors say, or what legal experts say prosecutors do when they're trying to flip a witness. In other words, they believe he has information on other people, including his former colleagues, potentially people in the campaign, possibly, again, we have no idea if he was speaking, if he actually, had the president caught in these surveillances. We don't know what connection is there, but clearly Mueller's after something bigger.
He is after something bigger. And I just want to know, before we go to break, the president's personal friend and attorney Michael Cohen was also up on Capitol Hill today. He was supposed to testify and take questions in private at the Senate Intelligence Committee. That was canceled. The committee was mad that Mr. Cohen put out a statement about what he planned to tell them beforehand. So a little process argument here led that to be canceled. Mr. Cohen, though, said that despite that disagreement, that he'd be happy to come back and answer questions when the committee wants to reschedule that. Up next, listen to Democrats and learn. The latest Republican effort to repeal Obamacare has a very real chance of passing.
When you schedule a Safe by Auto Glass, you get a text when we're on our way. You can see exactly when we'll arrive. I'm Mike with Safe Light.
Thanks for coming. It's right over here.
Giving you a few more minutes for what matters most.
Take care. Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in food that's naturally beautiful, fresh, and nutritious. So there are no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial preservatives in any of the food we sell. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
T-Mobile's Unlimited now includes Netflix on us. That's right, Netflix on us. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network.
We are the TV doctors of America. We may not know much about medicine, but we know a lot about drama.
From scandalous romance
to ridiculous plot twists.
Son? Dad? We also know you can avoid drama by getting an annual checkup.
So we're partnering with Cigna to remind you to go see a real doctor.
Go, no, and take control of your health. It could save your life.
Doctor poses.
Dad.
Cigna, together, all the way.
Traffic is backed up. There's an accident on the freeway that hasn't been cleared yet.
When heartburn hits, fight back fast with Tums Smoothies. It starts dissolving the instant it touches your tongue and neutralizes stomach acid at the source. Smoothies, only from Tums.
Have you been diagnosed with spinal stenosis, bulging or herniated disc, sciatica, or other chronic spine conditions? Are you ready to find lasting relief? Call Laser Spine Institute, the nation's leader in minimally invasive spine surgery, to learn how a less than 1-inch incision can have you up and walking within a few hours of surgery, free from chronic back pain, and with no hospital stay and no lengthy recovery.
Call 1-800-347-BACK now for your no-cost MRI review.
Take your first step in joining over 60,000 patients who found lasting relief at Laser Spine Institute.
My boss would send me home because I was in excruciating pain. Going to Laser Spine Institute, I go in, I have the procedure, and walk out a changed person, good to go back to work. It's changed my life completely.
If you've been told you might need neck or back surgery, call 1-800-347-BACK now for your no-cost MRI review.
Laser Spine Institute, a less than 1-inch incision, a lifetime of standing tall. To power 140 characters at a time. But could his tweets backfire on his presidency? I think if Donald Trump implodes, it'll be because of Twitter. Twitter and Trump, Friday night at 10.
Suffering from sinus congestion and allergies? Want to avoid drug and nasal spray side effects or uncomfortable neti pots? Get My Pure Mist. Fast, natural, drug-free relief for your sinus symptoms. Steam is a natural decongestant and is so effective that leading medical institutions recommend it. Simply push the on button to get instant steam. And you can use it anywhere, anytime. The Instant Fine Mist penetrates deep, effectively washing away irritants and allergens. The result is superb relief from sinus congestion, colds, and allergies. Research shows 92% of My Pure Mist users can breathe better and sleep better with fewer symptoms. No wonder My Pure Mist has amazing reviews at Amazon, Target, and other major retailers. Why suffer? Get fast, natural relief today. My Pure Mist is available at Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, or Walgreens. Breathe better, sleep better. Get My Pure Mist at Target today. This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
We're going to be looking at a bill that will hurt our people.
will give them worse health care. We'll go backwards.
This is the bill that's coming before us. This is the threat right now to our nation and to millions of people.
It's just another version of the same old cruel, heartless, shameless plan that Republicans have spent the last 8 months trying to jam down the throats of the American people.
That urgent tone by Senate Democrats is quite telling. They know a last-ditch Republican effort to replace Obamacare has a chance of getting the necessary 50 votes. You're looking right here, live pictures outside the Capitol. That's Cory Booker, the Democratic senator from New Jersey. Again, another rally, this speaking out against a proposal. It's sponsored by Republican Senators Lindsey Graham and Bill Cassidy. Now, that proposal still doesn't have enough votes, but it's pretty close. If it became law, here's what it would do. It would dramatically shift big health care funding and coverage decisions to states. It eliminates, for example, both the individual and the employer coverage mandates in Obamacare. Federal subsidies disappear. Instead, states would make coverage rules using lump sum block grants and Medicaid money. It also would be up to the states to decide whether insurance must keep or allowed to change or even in some cases eliminate coverage mandates now in Obamacare. Now, we know the Democrats don't like it, but the political math depends on Republicans, who can only afford to lose 2 votes in the Senate. Count Rand Paul as 1.
A yes vote keeps Obamacare in place forever. But this is not a repeal bill. This is sort of, hey, we're going to take Obamacare, replace it with Obamacare. We're going to let the states have a little more power in how we spend it, but we're going to keep the taxes and keep the spending.
This is probably deja vu to many of you out there in the country. The Republicans have tried several times in the past 8 months to pass an Obamacare repeal or replace bills they call repeal that aren't quite repeal, but at least would replace. How urgent is this? We'll show you some pictures just moments ago. Vice President Pence was at the United Nations with the President. He came back to Washington for the weekly Republican Senators Luncheon. With him right there, Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, one of the sponsors of this piece of legislation, who has been doing what we call the whip count here in Washington, counting around, seeing how many votes he needs. They are now going to that lunch to try to sell this bill. We are told by sources on Capitol Hill, helping here at the table, to take this quite seriously, that they were close before, but that they're at least close again.
So other than Rand Paul, who's already announced that he's a no, I spoke to Senator Susan Collins yesterday, and she sounded very skeptical about this bill. She said she's worried about what it would do to Medicaid in her state. She's worried about what it would do to coverage and how it would affect the insurance market in Maine. She also said it's procedurally a problem that the CBO is not going to put out a full analysis of what this bill would mean for insurance coverage and what it would mean for the deficit. They're just going to give a red light or green light as to whether it applies, can be done under reconciliation rules. She's one of them. Lisa Murkowski also yesterday said she's doing her due diligence. She's speaking to her governor, who, by the way, came out criticizing this bill today. And John McCain, a critical vote, the decisive vote last time, who told some reporters yesterday that he's still concerned about the process. He wants it to go through regular order, but he did not shut the door.
Right, so they scheduled a hearing, at least one hearing. I think they may schedule 2 hearings to try to satisfy. It's not exactly the regular process, but to try to send it to Senator McCain. We're going to have a hearing, 2 hearings. People can talk about this. That's to try to get that. The governor of Arizona did come out for it. I was told yesterday McCain is trying to get to yes, but he's not there yet. The question becomes, so we have to stalk Lisa Murkowski, we have to stalk John McCain. I don't mean that in a literal sense, but they are the 2 key votes here. Again, it's going to come down to them. The policy argument, Susan Collins says no, Medicaid still, same issue. Lisa Murkowski having that same conversation with herself leads to uncertainty for people who rely on the Medicaid expansion money for coverage in their states. For the political argument for Republicans is we have to do this. We promised for 7 years we're going to do this. How do we go to 2018? What's going to win, the policy concerns or the political imperative?
You know, this is not really a repeal of Obamacare. I think it is important to note that it leaves the regulatory architecture that, if you talk to conservatives like Mike Lee, that was their major, the Utah Center, that was their major beef, was the regulatory architecture and the taxes. And this really does leave the structure in place. It just shifts the money from the federal government to the states. So Rand Paul is not really wrong when he voices these complaints. And I think to a certain extent, the drama you're seeing from Democrats is a little bit overstated in that it's not a sweeping repeal, but I do think that the drama on the Republican side, or that the stress you're seeing from Republicans, is that they need to pass something, anything. And Donald Trump was not wrong when he hammered Mitch McConnell, saying you got to get something done. And the Republicans had 7 years to do this. They really should have had something ready and teed up. And there's a real desperation to do something, even if it's not a full repeal.
But what is the point? What is the risk though if they go through this again? The Vice President Lindsey Graham coming down the steps to the cameras, an urgent meeting, saying we're just one
Can they
vote
really
short.
look worse than they've already looked on this?
I guess
Come
that's
on,
the
they've
question.
got nothing to lose.
They've already shown themselves to be completely ineffectual on this. And I do think the rationale that you were talking about, that they have to do something, does move the vast majority of Republicans here. The problem is that for the swing votes that they need for Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, they're not going to be swayed by that. They've already shown that they're not going to just grab anything that's called a repeal and say this is a win. This Medicaid expansion was one of the more popular elements of Obamacare, even with all the other problems that lawmakers on both sides say there are with the existing health laws. The Medicaid expansion was one of the more popular things, so I think it's going to be very difficult to get people like that over the hump if they haven't gotten there yet.
You are a Republican voter out there in America, especially a Republican voter, might have questions about your health care. You see them go through.
Yes, baby. I'm sorry.
And that is quite interesting. I just want to read this before we go to break. This is Senator John Cornyn, the #2 Senate Republican, on the relationship between Senate Republicans and President Trump. I think it's like a thunderstorm. After a while, it clears up. The sun comes out and everything's okay. As he finds that kind of relationship acceptable, Cornyn said bluntly, what choice do I have? Welcome to Washington. Up next, Hillary Clinton raises the specter of doing something she once called horrifying.
Coney Island has been around for a long time. Reminds me of how Geico has been saving people money for over 75 years.
Hey, big guy, come on in. Let me guess your weight. Win a prize.
Sure, why not?
12 ounces?
Sorry, mate, 4 ounces. I've been taking the stairs lately.
You win, big guy.
Sorry. Excuse me.
Oh, he looks so much more real on TV.
Yeah. Over 75 years of savings and service. Get your rate quote today.
Hey everyone, I'm Taylor from Chicago. I'm on Match looking for someone to laugh with, someone who can keep up. Nobody who's just in it for a fling. Hello. I hope to see you soon.
Check out new Match stories for free today. How do you chase what you love with moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis? Do what I did. Ask your doctor about Humira. It's proven to help relieve pain and protect joints from further irreversible damage in many adults. Humira works by targeting and helping to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to RA symptoms. Humira has been clinically studied for over 20 years.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Ready for a new chapter? Talk to your rheumatologist about Humira. This is Humira at Work.
Patrick woke up with back pain, but he has work to do, so he took a leave. If you're taking Tylenol, he'd be stopping for more pills right now. Only Aleve has the strength to stop tough pain for up to 12 hours with just one pill. Aleve, all day strong.
I could tell right away ZipRecruiter was going to make hiring a lot easier.
Go to ZipRecruiter.com and post to over 100 job boards with one click. Then easily select the best candidates from one list. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/fast.
Managing blood sugar is a series of smart choices. And when you replace one meal or snack a day with Glucerna, made with Carb Steady to help minimize blood sugar spikes, you can really feel it. Now with 30% less carbs and sugars. Glucerna.
Let's go! Let's go! It's the 10th season of Parts Unknown, and I still have a job? Who saw that coming?
Season 10 of Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown starts Sunday, October 1st at 9 on CNN.
I can be one of those video doorbell things.
What?
It's called a Ring.
What?
Ring video doorbell. Means I can see you.
Powder Tide, Norm.
What's up there, Slick? Smile for the floodlight. Knuckleheads. The Ring video doorbell and floodlight cam. See, speak, or sound an alarm right from your phone. Learn more at ring.com.
I won this 55-inch TV for less than $30 on DealDash.com.
I got this $1,200 computer for $100.71.
These aren't actors, they're real people who got real savings at DealDash.com, the fair and honest bidding site. At DealDash.com, you can save up to 99%, but hurry, everything must go.
And shipping is always free.
Visit Deal-com and start bidding today.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-831-3700.
Welcome back. Listen here, a tongue-in-cheek moment from Hillary Clinton last night here in Washington.
The Russians and their allies, whoever they turn out to be.
She got laughs from the Warner Theater crowd there, but earlier in an NPR interview about her new book, listen here, a stunning answer to a very serious question.
Would you completely rule out questioning the legitimacy of this election if we learn that the Russian interference in the election is even deeper than we know now?
No, I would not. I would say...
You're not going to rule it out?
No, I wouldn't rule it out.
It's a hypothetical, complicated by a hypothetical, but that's a pretty stunning thing to say. What does that mean?
That means Trump is right all along. This is what this is about. It's quite, I'm kidding her. She's opening it up here, right? She says later in the interview that she doesn't quite know what she means here, right? That there's no way to actually delegitimize this election in our current process. But she leaves it open, right? It at the very least keeps us talking about her and this book, and keeps the pressure on this investigation.
The best thing, questioning, as in questioning in her mind, or legally challenging the legitimacy of the election. The latter would be a huge deal. If she, in her mind, decides that these allegations don't give credence to the fact that he was, that he deserves to be president, that's a very different thing than challenging it. So I'm not.
I think she's already at the former. Okay, so I think it seems like we're talking about the latter. But the thing that really struck me was that it was Donald Trump who, during the campaign, was absolutely hammered for saying that he wasn't going to accept the results of the election. But they're similar in so many ways, isn't that right?
Well, right, and that was one of the things that we all talked about when it all came to light, the degree to which Russia sought to influence the election. One of the ways in which we talked about them having done that is that they undermined people's confidence in the system because they were able to, hack, and they were able to do enough to disrupt. There's not a clear understanding yet of the full scope of what was done, but what they were able to do was make people question, is this election actually legitimate or is it not? That's one of the reasons President Obama didn't want to come out the way that Hillary Clinton now says he should have come out and been tougher about it and been more explicit about it. So it's ironic that now she is coming forward and saying, oh yeah, I would question it myself and I would challenge it. I mean, that's sort of playing right into what the strategy was here, right, on the part of Russia, was to make the American people wonder whether this was actually a legitimate election.
She also was asked to choose between Putin and Trump. She said, I have to take that under advisement for the following reason. I ran against both of them. Thanks for joining us in Inside Politics. Hope to see you back here tomorrow. We'll blitz her up after a quick break.
T-Mobile's Unlimited now includes Netflix on Us. That's right, Netflix on Us. Get 4 unlimited lines for just $40 each, taxes and fees included. And now, Netflix included. So go ahead and binge on Us. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network.
Wouldn't you like to be out on the rolling sea with only the sky above?
Hey, Grandpa. Big deal. Really good to see you, too. You told Grandma you were going fishing again? Maybe.
The best things in life keep going. That's why I got a Subaru, too. Introducing the all-new Crosstrek. Love is out there. Find it in a Subaru Crosstrek.
It's back to school time, so make time for you.
Stay tuned for a special limited-time TV offer from Nutrisystem.
I'm Melissa Joan Hart, and I lost 40 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Be one of the first 500 callers and save $80 right now.
I'm Marie, and I lost 50 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Lose weight fast with Nutrisystem's Lean 13. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Lose weight fast, money back guaranteed.
I have so much more energy.
Order your 4-week plan right now and we'll rush you Lean 13. Get specially selected meals, plus 1 week of Nutri-Crush bars to crush cravings free. And 1 week of Turbo Shakes to bust belly bloat free. Don't forget, be one of the first 500 callers and save $80 right now on Uniquely Yours, our most popular plan with over 150 foods.
This is your moment. Don't wait. Start looking and feeling great today.
Call 888-802-THIN right now and get Lean 13 with shakes and bars free and save $80.
Working hard to lower your LDL bad cholesterol? Not making enough progress? You eat well, take the highest dose statin you can, but still aren't getting where you need to be? Now there's Repatha, a different way to reduce LDL and get on the path to dramatically lower numbers. Repatha works differently than your statin to help clear LDL. Repatha plus the highest dose statin drove down LDL an average of 71% more than a statin alone.
Do not take Repatha if you are allergic to it. Repatha may cause allergic reactions. Signs include redness, severe rash or itching, swollen face, or trouble breathing. The most common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site.
Added to a highest dose statin, Repatha lowered LDL below 70 for up to 90% of people. Ask if Repatha can get you on the path to way lower LDL.
Fred would do anything for his daughter, even being the back half of a unicorn. Fortunately, the front half washed the shirt with Gain. The irresistible scent of Gain Flings laundry detergent.
I'm pretty handy around the house, but now that I have kids, I don't want to spend a Saturday installing a toilet or fixing an air conditioner. Thankfully, there's Home Advisor. Home Advisor helps me find the best home pros in my area to handle any kind of project. They have verified reviews of the pros, and they do background checks, so you know you can trust them with your home. You can compare prices, book appointments, and what my wife loves most is that Home Advisor is completely free to use.
Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
What you doing? Just checking my free credit score at Credit Karma. What's that? Don't you know that checking your credit score lowers it? Actually, checking your credit score with Credit Karma doesn't affect it at all. I guess I could just check my credit score then. Credit Karma. Get knowing.
Hello, I'm Wolf Blitzer. It's 1 p.m. here in Washington. Wherever you're watching from around the world, thanks very much for joining us. A defiant debut, President Trump telling the United Nations the U.S. would totally destroy North Korea, calling Kim Jong-un a rocket man on a suicide mission. The reactions to his speech now pouring in. Plus, catastrophic Maria, an extremely dangerous Category 5 hurricane, closing in on Puerto Rico, leaving destruction in its wake. The brand new forecast coming up. And listening in, the president's former campaign chairman, wiretapped by the feds, a period when he was known to talk to President Trump. The details on this CNN exclusive report. All that coming up. But up first, it was blunt and at times blistering. In his first speech before the United Nations General Assembly, President Donald Trump condemned the nuclear agreement with Iran and delivered a very stark warning to North Korea's leader.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. The United States is ready, willing, and able, but hopefully this will not be necessary. The Iran deal was one of the worst and most one-sided transactions the United States has ever entered into. Frankly, that deal is an embarrassment to the United States, and I don't think you've heard the last of it, believe me.
The president said the U.S. will do its part in dealing with global issues, but the main focus is to look out for its own interests.
As President of the United States, I will always put America first. Just like you, as the leaders of your countries, will always and should always put your countries first. The United States will forever be a great friend to the world, and especially to its allies. But we can no longer be taken advantage of or enter into a one-sided deal where the United States gets nothing in return. As long as I hold this office, I will defend America's interests above all else.
Let's go to our Chief National Security Correspondent, Jim Sciutto. He's joining us from outside the United Nations. Jim, this was a no-holds-barred speech. How did it play among the gathering of world leaders?
Wolf, I'll tell you, that comment, that threat to North Korea sparked an enormous reaction. I spoke a short time ago to a senior UN diplomat who described it to me this way, saying that he, diplomats around him, were taken aback. He described it to me like a wind had gone through the room when the president uttered those words, "We will totally destroy North Korea." Said it was an emotional reaction. There were rumblings to hear.
Wow, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy.
So many words to obliterate another country. Truly remarkable. And with the Iran threat somewhat different, a sense in the room that this is an American president who very well may withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. But I'll tell you, it's those words about North Korea that particularly sparked a reaction in that room. Audible gasps, I'm told. Extremely unusual. An emotional reaction, as this diplomat said.
You know, Jim, the president was criticized over the weekend.
Championship fight. Here's Giselle. Bryce Lee he will have a mortgage Twitter diplomacy with the United States. Here it is.
And it's that language in there that he wanted to, in effect, double down on that description. As you know, he likes to have descriptions.
You never one more. I don't know if you're able to.
I'll take you. Well, hold on one second. Just wait one second.
When he took that next step of saying that we will totally destroy it, that's the one that stood out to many in the room.
It's not a very good reaction. Everybody is looking here, particularly all the countries that signed up and were instrumental in negotiating that deal for a period of years, say that while it may not.
This is for the championship bout. I want you guys to do a clean fight. Follow my orders at all times. Defend yourself at all times. Good luck tonight. Touch gloves.
Priceless.
There you go. First
Iron.
one, you ready? Are you ready?
And here we go. The middleweight belt is on the line. Tonight's championship fight is scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds.
Oh, these body kicks. He is really finding a home for those body kicks.
Joe, you're all over it. The kicks to the body, a true factor in this fight.
Again with a front kick to the body.
Both men came out hard.
He's doing a great job of timing these shots.
Iron gets hit with another front kick. That right hook misses. Left kick to the body.
Oh, big head kick.
Joe. Strong jab.
Oh, he's landed some good shots here.
Solid shot to the body. Big shot. That punch had knockout written all over it. Oh, big body kick.
a heavy body kick. Joe, we're seeing some nice work. He's really staying busy. Joe, those body strikes are really starting to do some damage.
Yep, no doubt about that one.
Great use of the kicks.
It appears a cut has opened up on his cheek.
Both men exchanging.
Good defense there.
Nice roundhouse kick to the body. Priceless with a good right kick to the body.
And he lands a very nice combination. Oh, big kick. Oh, very nice.
Huge kick. Great job blocking that punch. Priceless with a good kick to the body. Man, big strike.
Body kick, look at that. Oh, he missed that kick.
Hey, baby. Come here.
Iron with the kick to the midsection.
Really missed with that right hand.
And connects with the jab.
Landed a couple good shots here.
Nice roundhouse kick to the body. And there's another roundhouse kick. Round one complete.
And here we go. Let's take a look at some of this action here. And here's a nice kick to the body that lands. We've really got a chance to see some awesome action in that round.
The lovely Brittany getting us set for round number 2. Round 2. Joe, we saw a bit of action in the first round.
They're getting each other's timing down, starting to figure out the distance, and I think they're going to get after it now.
Strong counter kick to the body by Priceless. He's able to block the punch. That's
huge
a beautiful hook.
Flying knee. Big straight punch.
Solid shot to the body.
Oh, and he goes on top of the kick.
Oh, big body kick.
Hard straight punch. He's doing a great job of being unpredictable and mixing things up here. Knee to the body here.
Good back and forth battle.
Head kick.
Oh, that's a heavy body kick.
Wow, he is throwing some huge kicks here.
Oh, he lands the roundhouse to the body. Man, the left side of the body continues to get worse, and it's because of all those great strikes. Iron with another kick to the body. Good roundhouse kick to the midsection. He's launched with a huge left.
Ooh, that was a beautiful duck.
Oh, very nice. Oh,
That was a beautiful duck.
Oh, nice knee.
Up the middle, nicely done.
Big shots.
Come here.
Body kick.
Come here.
I like that, Mike. I like how he's mixing it up.
Come here. You getting hit. You're gonna get knocked out by a tranny. Come here.
Trying to stay out of trouble. tempo here. Huge kicks. Solid shot to the body. Big kick to the body again.
Huge kick misses.
Nice roundhouse kick to the body. Great defense as he blocks that body shot.
We have completed 2 rounds. All right, let's check out some of the action from that round. And here's a nice shot, lands perfectly. And here's another clean shot that lands. And another perfectly placed strike. Some really well-placed strikes on display in that round.
Everything he throws, you're countering right on time. Keep up with the counters. And listen, start throwing in some duck.
There's Ariani as we get ready for round 3. Third round of this championship fight. Oh, he lands the roundhouse to the body.
And there he swung with a haymaker. Oh, he's getting some hip in that one. Another nasty kick lands.
Oh, big body kick. Man, he just avoided damage. Great block. Priceless's body continues to get punched. There is some serious bruising.
To the body. Very nice kicks.
And again, he connects with the kick. He missed on that jab. Oh, he is in big trouble here. Oh, that's a heavy body kick.
Oh, solid jab. Oh! Hard hook. Oh! Big punch from the top. Oh!
It is all over.
That's it. Tremendous hook on the button for the win.
Personal lawyer Michael Cohen after he arrived on Capitol Hill. You're welcome.
Endless Shrimp is back at Red Lobster, and we went all out to bring you even more incredible shrimp and new flavors. Like new Nashville hot shrimp drizzled with sweet amber honey, and new grilled Mediterranean shrimp finished with a savory blend of green onions, tomatoes, and herbs. Feeling hungry yet? Good, because there's plenty more where these came from, like garlic shrimp scampi and other classics you love. As much as you want, however you want them. But hurry, Endless Shrimp won't be here long.
Look, here's what's wrong with your workout. You're not doing it. Why? Because you don't have time. So we invented this, the Bowflex Max Trainer, the breakthrough 14-minute total body workout that combines the low-impact motion of an elliptical with the calorie-burning power of a stepper. Max Trainer is a great full-body workout. Got me shredded in my arms, legs, my abs, kicked my butt. So I lost 21 pounds in 10 weeks. Everybody was blown away. 14 minutes is all it takes. Max sets targets to guide you through a smarter workout. Short bursts of effort followed by longer periods of rest. So in just 14 minutes, you burn more calories in less time.
The programming tells you exactly what to do and how hard to work.
So
It's incredible. I lost over 8% body fat in 10 weeks. It's the best feeling.
On special financing for 18 months and on a savings of $300 off menus. Call or go to borderbackstraining.com. That's borderbackstraining.com.
Allowed to see it. It's bare and it's blocked.
This is Willie. He's on his way to work in Alaska.
It's kind of suffocating.
This is John. He's on his way to work in New Mexico.
And it's whatever you listen to.
Any kind of.
When you listen to the radio, when you listen to whatever.
CNN, even CNN right now.
Oh, really?
Probably.
And we make much more than our name suggests. We're an organic tea company, a premium juice company. We've got drinks for long days, for birthdays, for turning over new leaves. And all of our products rely on the same thing we all do: clean water. Which is why we have John leading our efforts to replenish every drop of water we use. We believe our business drives our communities, which is just one of the reasons we help make college a reality for thousands of students. Today, companies need to do more, so John and Willie are trying to do just that. Thank you for listening. We're listening too.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Many people with Medicare may be able to get extra benefits and don't even know they're available. You may be able to get dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage included in your plan. The Medicare Coverage Helpline is accepting calls to see if you're eligible to enroll now. You may be able to get extra benefits including dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buckwell. Making sure you go to the doctor and taking all your medications as prescribed can help protect your health. To make it easier, you may now be able to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that includes coverage for dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Help protect your health by choosing the right plan for you and get all the benefits you deserve.
Call to see if you may be able to get extra benefits including dental, vision, and prescription coverage. Don't delay. Call to see if you're eligible to enroll and may be able to get extra benefits now. Call 800-779-8200. That's 800-779-8200. How can Credit Karma save you money?
Oh, I just got charged for credit monitoring again. Oh, you should try Credit Karma. It's free. Really? Mm-hmm. You should check it out.
With totally free credit monitoring.
Free. Credit Karma. Get knowing.
Closed captioning brought to you by Simmons Hanley Conroy. Call 1-800-891-1300.
If you have mesothelioma, call Simmons Hanley Conroy. Millions have been set aside to pay asbestos victims. Call Simmons Hanley Conroy.
1-800-891-1300. 1-800-891-1300.
A bombshell in the Russia investigation. The U.S. government tapping the front of a top Trump campaign official, now raising the question, did former campaign chairman Paul Manafort invite the Russians to mess with the U.S. presidential election? It's a CNN exclusive. Here to explain all of this, our crime and justice reporter, Shimon Prokopez, who broke the story along with Pamela Brown and Evan Perez. Shimon, talk a little bit about the surveillance. When did it start?
Well, we're told by several sources that the surveillance began in 2014 when Paul Manafort was under investigation for some work he was doing for the Ukrainian ruling party at the time. There was some suspicious activity. The Ukrainians were under investigation for some corruption, and the FBI went to the FISA court and asked for a warrant to start conducting surveillance and to start essentially listening in on his phone calls. That is when the FBI first started listening in, doing and conducting surveillance of Paul Manafort.
Do we know, Shimon, if any of Manafort's communications with Donald Trump were captured either before or after he won the election?
Well, we don't know. Simply put, we just don't know, and none of our sources seem to know. But what was going on was after the FBI opened its investigation into Trump associates and the whole Russia meddling investigation, at some point they went back to the FISA court and asked for another warrant. And there they began surveillance of Paul Manafort again, this time in relation to the Russian meddling investigation. And we're told that that warrant, that eavesdropping, the FISA warrant, continued into early of this year, well into the president's term in office. And we're also told by sources that Trump, President Trump, was known to speak to Manafort at the time. So it is possible that some of those communications were captured by the FBI.
Timo Prokopez reporting, thanks very much. Another major part of the Russia investigation took a strange turn today with the abrupt cancellation of the appearance of Trump's personal lawyer, longtime confidant, Michael Cohen of New York. Cohen was supposed to face serious questions from investigators from the Senate Intelligence Committee, but something happened. Let's go to CNN's Ryan Nobles. He's up on Capitol Hill. Ryan, tell our viewers what happened.
Yeah, well, certainly an odd morning here on Capitol Hill. Michael Cohen appeared to answer questions in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He actually sat in the hearing room for more than an hour and a half and then left abruptly afterwards, saying that the committee decided to postpone the hearing. Listen to what he told our Manu Raju as we're emerging from that hearing room.
That's a question you're going to have to ask the Senate. But it was a request by the Senate Intel to postpone, and I'll be back, and I look forward to giving all the information that they're looking for.
So essentially what we've learned, Wolf, is that there was some disappointment by the Senate Intelligence Committee because Cohen essentially preempted his appearance today in front of the committee by releasing the statement that he had prepared to read to the committee. And we are told, Jeremy Herb learning that some of the Senate Intelligence Committee members were upset, by the way, that Jared Kushner had similarly done that earlier in the year. They did not want Cohen to try and preempt his testimony at all. And both the Senate Intelligence Committee leaders from the Republican and Democratic side, Mark Warner and Richard Burr, releasing this statement just a few minutes ago, and it reads, quote, "We are disappointed that Mr. Cohen decided to preempt today's interview by releasing a public statement prior to his engagement with the committee staff in spite of the committee's request that he refrain from public comment. As a result, we declined to move forward with today's interview and will reschedule Mr. Cohen's appearance before the committee in open session at a date in the near future." And Wolf, that is significant. Cohen's appearance today was behind closed doors. He was going to answer questions from committee staff and not be under oath. It appears now that both Republicans and Democrats want him back up here on the Hill. They want him to appear in open session and under oath. In fact, I talked to Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut just a few minutes ago. He said it is imperative that the next time Cohen appears, that he does so in open session. Wolf?
All right, thanks very much. Ryan Nobles up on Capitol Hill. Let's discuss this and more with our panel. Our CNN political analyst David Gregory is with us. Our national security and legal analyst, former National Security Agency attorney Susan Hennessy is with us. And CNN analyst Michael Zeldin is also a former federal prosecutor. He was once Robert Mueller's assistant over the Department of Justice. I'll start with you, David. How significant are all of these developments, starting with the wiretapping of Paul Manafort, the campaign chairman?
Well, the fact that he was the campaign chairman shows you how aggressively the connections are being pursued by the special prosecutor. It reaches to the campaign chairman, someone who is so close to then candidate and then President-elect Trump. So this is extremely significant. And it also shows that what we've been able to glean publicly, that maybe the special prosecutor is focusing on potential obstruction of justice. There's also the financial investigation with regard to not just Manafort, but the Trump enterprises as well. In addition to those contacts and attempts to manipulate the election results, working in cahoots with the Russians. That's the level of inquiry in three different directions that is very aggressive, very intense, and coupled with what we know publicly, coupled with the fact that the president and others have been less than truthful about aspects of this, that he fired the FBI director because he didn't like how he was conducting the investigation. I think this kind of fortifies a lot of the investigation, certainly on Capitol Hill that we were just hearing.
And it's pretty extraordinary, Susan, you're a former National Security Agency attorney, that not once but twice they got a FISA court, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court. Twice they got permission to wiretap Paul Manafort, an American citizen.
All right, so what it indicates is that in two distinct circumstances, they were able to show a judge probable cause that Paul Manafort was the agent of a foreign power. The way that's defined under FISA, typically that involves the possibility of there being criminal conduct. So these are really serious allegations. The mere fact that a judge thought there was enough here to issue a warrant in two separate circumstances. The other real question is that the intervening thing was that Donald Trump saw fit to hire him as his campaign chair. And so it really does raise questions about sort of the president's judgment. Some of these questions about Paul Manafort's contacts and behavior in the Ukraine were already known long prior to the time that he was hired to the Trump campaign. So it really does raise questions both about the pre-existing warrant and then certainly the reissuance later on.
There's no assurance that the Trump campaign or Donald Trump as a private citizen, a candidate at that point, knew that Paul Manafort was under a FISA surveillance.
Well, certainly he wasn't aware that there was a FISA warrant, that a FISA warrant had been issued, but certainly there was public reporting about the troubling nature of some of these connections, and in fact, sort of the revelation of this ledger purportedly documenting the transfer of funds in Ukraine. That was one of the reasons why Paul Manafort ultimately had to step down from the campaign.
Michael, in addition to our reporting, the New York Times is reporting that the special counsel Robert Mueller and his team have already told Manafort when they searched his house, went through his house, his documents, that he's a target of this investigation and probably will be indicted.
Right, that's what they are saying. And this summer has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day type of summer for Manafort. His house is searched, his storage locker is searched, his lawyer is given a grand jury subpoena, his spokesperson is given a grand jury subpoena. He's subject to a FISA warrant, and now he's told he's a target. So it's a bad time for him. And the issue that the prosecutors will have to determine ultimately is, does Paul Manafort have information that is relevant to their investigation as to others, so that they can work out a deal with him for testimony and move up the food chain, if you will.
Your former boss, Robert Mueller, the special counsel, is engaged in what the New York Times calls shock and awe treatment, not only of Manafort, but of others, to get them to cooperate.
What's going on with you, man?
To get testimony they otherwise don't have access to. And an easy way to do that is to charge them with very provable crimes. In this case, Manafort is under investigation for money laundering possibilities in New York by the state AG. He's under investigation for tax violations by federal authorities. He's under investigation for failure to register as a foreign agent. There are lots of things that
Are you there?
he's vulnerable to, which a prosecutor could say, look, this is a straightforward case. I could charge you, and you can spend 5 years in prison, or we can make a deal.
Look at the context, right? I mean, you have Michael Flynn, former National Security Advisor, who has all these ties to foreign powers, including Russia. There's a president-elect, and before that, a candidate who seemed completely unconcerned with the fact that there was evidence that Russia wanted him to become president, was certainly seeking to influence the outcome of the election. And that kind of pressure that can be put on Manafort now can yield results. And by the way, the wiretapping starts when the FBI is still run by Jim Comey, who the president says, I fired because I didn't like how he was investigating, this Russia connection. I mean, you put all this together, it should be really troubling.
Michael Cohen, who was going to be questioned by investigators from the Senate Intelligence Committee today, but he released a statement, 4-page document that all of us have read by now. And as a result, they keep him waiting for an hour and a half. They don't question him. They say he's going to come back another time in open session. Do you understand why these Senate Intelligence Committee investigators wouldn't at least want to question him behind closed doors for a few hours and get some information?
Yeah, so my best guess is that they'd come to an agreement as a matter of courtesy, that the committee wasn't going to make any comments about the content of the testimony. Cohen wasn't going to speak to the media. And so those are sort of the rules of the road. It's important to have that sense of mutual trust where you're going to have these voluntary conversations. And so for Cohen to sort of breach that right out of the gate, you can see why the Senate and why the intelligence committees would be interested in open testimony, just having things be public. That makes them far more accessible to Robert Mueller's team. And so it's perfectly reasonable for them to say, you know what, if you aren't going to abide by the basic ground rules we've set here, then forget it. Let's do open testimony and we'll subpoena you for it.
I'm showing some pictures of a luncheon that the UN Secretary General is hosting for a lot of world leaders, including the President of the United States. Get to that in a moment. Do you understand why they wouldn't at least want to take advantage of Michael Cohen, question him for 4 or 5 hours, get information behind closed doors? He may not be under oath, but you can't lie to a Senate committee. If you do, that's perjury.
That's right. And were I a Senate staffer, I would say, let's go forward. He did breach the protocol. That's wrong. But we have him here. He's got very important information to tell us about Trump's Russia deals for the Trump Moscow property. Let's get it and say to him later, you do that again to us, and there'll be more consequences for you.
That was surprising to me, too. David, I assume to you, too. The guy is there. They probably have a million questions they want to ask him about Donald Trump, the campaign, Russian meddling. What were you doing, for example, trying to build a Trump Tower in Moscow right in the middle of the campaign? You would think that we want to get those answers and say, you know what,
he's trying to influence the news coverage of this when it's not public and you can't see the questions that he's asked. He's putting out his side of the story. Clearly, they rather than get what usable material they could get, they don't like that being done and would rather force him into open session when he can be effectively cross-examined rather than just try to influence the coverage. It gets to a little bit of how these committees and how open session is used to make arguments about, which way the investigation is going or what the fact, make conclusions about what the facts are.
Yeah, usually, I know these Senate investigators, House investigators.
Is that music too loud?
Sessions, get as much information
Just enough for you to hear?
Their bosses, the senators, the congressmen, ask questions. They know what the answers are going to be, and as a result, they'll do a better job in open session. We can get into the nuances of this down the road.
His counsel have told him that he is putting himself in that sort of jeopardy if he violates the protocols that they've agreed to. And apparently, counsel felt otherwise.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Once again, the President of the United States, he's at a luncheon hosted by the UN Secretary General right now.
I'm good, that's all I wanted.
We'll continue to monitor that. We all heard the President's very tough speech. In fact, he's speaking right now, we're told. So let's listen in as they look like they're going to raise glasses and have a little time.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Secretary General. I have to say that as someone born in New York and raised in New York, it is a great honor to have the United Nations in New York and always has been. For years, I've been a critic, but I've also been somebody that said that the United Nations has tremendous potential. And under your leadership, and I've seen what you've done, and working with Nikki Haley and all of her friends, she's made so many friends here, and Rex Tillerson likewise has become really a fixture here. We're working very hard to solve world problems, but there is no better forum. There can be no better forum, and certainly there can be no better location where everybody comes together. So I want to congratulate you. The word is potential. The potential of the United States in terms of what it's done has been wonderful, but we can do better, and we're going to. The potential of the United Nations is unlimited, and I really believe, I've met your representatives, and I know you well, you are going to do things that will be epic, and I certainly hope you will, but I feel very, very confident. So I just want to toast everybody in the room. And let's give this as a toast to the potential, the great, great potential of the United Nations. Thank you all for being here. Thank you very much.
All right, so there you have it. The President of the United States toasting the potential of the United Nations. David Gregory is still with us. I normally have a toast like that. They raise their glasses, and then there's a little round of applause. I didn't hear the round of applause.
I think, look, this is a crowd that I don't think the President has won over. But look, he's making an essential point that I think is very much in keeping with his philosophy and some of the criticisms he's made of the UN over time, and I think it's very much consistent with a message that frankly brought him into the presidency, which is, I'm going to call some of these institutions out for not doing a good enough job. I'm going to call other countries out for not pulling their weight if it has to do with NATO in terms of the percentage of their defense budget that's dedicated to NATO, or I'm going to call out agreements that I think are bad. The Iran agreement, that's a controversial position, but certainly he has a lot of people who support that position. Or look at the problems we've been having with North Korea, going back to the 90s when Bill Clinton negotiated a freeze with the North Koreans. So I think this is totally consistent with a tough approach to the United Nations. And he's not very diplomatic about it. He's like, look, I've been a critic, but there's potential to try to work together. And I think that is, I think, what people and supporters of his will say was a big win today. And he will have other conservatives in the foreign policy establishment who will say, yeah, the United Nations has been coming up short for a long time.
He's getting a lot of support from his base, from the Republican establishment at the same time. People like what they heard. A lot of people are criticizing what they heard, but that Republican base, the people who elected him president of the United States, they clearly were pleased by his tough words today as far as North Korea, Iran, radical Islamic terrorism, which he cited at the same time. So we'll continue to assess that. David, thanks very much. Meanwhile, there's a new Republican effort right now to overturn Obamacare, and it's quickly gaining some momentum behind the scenes. Why this bill would have a very dramatic impact on America's entire healthcare system. We'll update you on that. Also, after insulting and publicly berating them, there's new word that President Trump is trying to mend some fences with several Republicans, at least in private. This is CNN's special live coverage.
How do you chase what you love with moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis? Do what I did. Ask your doctor about Humira. It's proven to help relieve pain and protect joints from further irreversible damage in many adults. Humira works by targeting and helping to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to RA symptoms. Humira has been clinically studied for over 20 years.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and even worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, or prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Ready for a new chapter? Talk to your rheumatologist about Humira. This is Humira at Work.
If you have warning reports A and B, you have more coverage. Guess what? You can apply for a Medicare supplement insurance plan whenever you want. No enrollment window, no waiting to apply. That means now may be a great time to shop for an AARP Medicare supplement insurance plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Medicare doesn't cover everything, and like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, these don't cover some of what Medicare doesn't pay. So don't wait. Call now and request your free decision guide. It can help you find the AARP Medicare supplement plan you can choose.
And here we go. Tonight's fight is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. White trunks for Boom Boom. Black trunks for Tyson. Tags him. He's doing a great job of mixing things up here. Huge kick to the midsection. And a good slip of the right hand by Tyson. Push kick. They're going after it quick here. Boom Boom with a solid 1-2. And now with the right hand. He is going after it here. And he's back on his feet. Oh, very nice. Hard overhand punch. And again to the midsection. Oh, head towards the kick. Huge kick. Body kick, look at that. Oh, that caught him. Again with a solid kick to the body. Under 3 on the clock, round 1. Oh, he lands the roundhouse to the body. Wow. Solid shot to the body. Oh, big right hand clipped him. Oh, that's a heavy body kick. Oh, another body kick. Under 2 minutes now. He is really... Oh, he's going for it here. Wow, he is throwing some huge kicks here. Big body kick. Powerful kick. Oh! Boy, he is in big trouble, Mike. Oh, very nice. Oh, powerful kick. Big kick to the body again. Oh!
Good one. God damn, overhand motherfucking right. Good job, buddy. That motherfucking overhand right keeps clocking my hand. Good one.
Major changes to Medicaid funding, pre-existing conditions coverage while transferring more of the decision-making power to the states away from the federal government. Talk about the new plan right now.
Baby, grab my beer, please.
Very much rushed. Yes, compressed timetable, there's no question about it, but it has to be. Senate Republicans, if they want to pass this health care bill, this repeal and replace effort, the latest repeal and replace effort, they have to do it by September 30th if they want to be able to pass it with just a majority vote. That's now, just a week ago, we discussed this was all but dead. Now it's back, and it's extremely important for senators right now to try and get their heads around this. That's exactly what they're doing behind me. They're in a closed-door meeting right now. The vice president is in there working through the details. As you noted, this is a significant, dramatic shift in how the U.S. does health care, how the system works out. Very familiar to past Republican plans. Repeals the independent mandate. It repeals the employer, the individual mandate, repeals the employer mandate. It also would put an end by 2022 to Obamacare's Medicaid expansion, but also effectively define the one-year Planned Parenthood. Now, here's where things get different. This is why you see really trying to get their heads around what this bill would actually mean. He's going to want to move and avoid making damage early and split it out 2 states, all 50 states, to the body. Now, this is something that makes sense very much. Giving state governments the opportunity to decide how their individual systems would work. But it would also mean providing some Medicaid changes to overall program ending the entitlement. There would be significant reductions likely in the state of the course of the next couple of decades. So that has some senators I think senators are really keying on right now, and that's the state of the bar somebody from getting a plan because of a pre-existing condition. By all accounts, it looks like states would have the ability to give insurers the opportunity to increase prices. Trying to stay on the top of here. The primary issues that pass efforts on getting this through beforehand. The real question now for Republican senators who are very aware that this is it, this is their last chance, is what's more important? Delivering on a promise of the course of the last 6 years, or sticking to some of the statements they've made in the past. That's what they're trying to figure out right now.
They can't afford to lose more than 2 spots. The Senate Republican Democrats are going to vote for it.
Priceless with a kick to the midsection. Priceless really went on this strike.
He's had some really big shots in this fight, big power shots, and that's just what the fight's for. Very nice shots, man.
Man, he's not just
Stop talking the United Nations.
Snap that kick.
Considering shooting down unbelievable. Don't necessarily threaten the U.S. or its allies. The Secretary of Defense announced warning today that North Korea's quote
solid shot to the body.
big power for just how far they could push without going over the kind of a line and their line of what they make vulnerable. I want to bring in Lieutenant Colonel Steve Warren to talk about this. He's our CNN military analyst. What would the point be?
He was able to block that big punch to the head. Good counterweight to the class. Joe, he's really
allied
right to
Sure, well, the point of shooting it down was simply to demonstrate good
connection by both men.
The fact that this idea is being put out there, is trying to do 2 things, right?
He can do damage from his Muay Thai club flex.
The oven, if you will, so that folks, partners, allies, Congress, the American
tying up big class, looks for opening.
I think the second thing really is to give our...
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Bitch!
Beautiful knockout throw to finish the fight here.
Well, that's the flip side of the coin, right?
Let's check out the action. Let's take one more look at
Fucking bitch is getting his ass kicked the whole fucking time. Fucking clinching motherfucking faggot.
I think overall, taking the shot,
Here it is again.
Would certainly send a message.
Fucking bitch. You fucking bitch. Clinching fucking bitch. I knew I was in fucking trouble.
Ready, willing, and able. So if there's a threat from North Korea to the U.S. or allies, you heard what the president said. The U.S.
Am I on
would be
alcohol?
surprised to hear that kind of very, very blunt talk.
That's very tough talk, particularly in a forum like that,
Yeah,
the United Nations. You don't normally hear that type of rhetoric in that type of a forum. But certainly this is somewhat in line with what we've said all along. Keep in
Damn
mind
it, man.
that, you know, it's if the North Koreans
Fucking
attack,
clinch, man, is making me
they'll
fucking
destroy it.
nervous as fuck.
I don't sense that we're in a process or on a path to some sort of preemptive strike. I don't see that coming.
All right, Steve, thanks very much, Steve Warren. On military Secret Service protection, with White House Counselor Kellyanne Conway now giving up her Secret Service protection, and Donald Trump Jr. seeking to end his full-time detail at the same time. Why security experts say this decision could be very dangerous for them. That's coming up.
Mom, I just saved a lot of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico.
I should take a closer look at Geico.
You know Geico can help you save money on your homeowner's insurance too?
Great. Geico can help insure our mountains LA.
How long have we been sawing this log? 114 years. Man, I thought my arm would be a lot more jacked by now. I'm not even sure this is real wood.
There's no butter in this churn.
Do my tries look okay? Take a closer look at Geico. Great savings and a whole lot more. QuickBooks introduces Jeanette and her new mobile wedding business. At first, getting paid was tough until she got QuickBooks. Now she sends invoices, sees when they've been viewed, and ta-da! Pay twice as fast for free. Visit QuickBooks.com.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in food that's naturally beautiful, fresh, and nutritious. So there are no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial preservatives in any of the food we sell. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
When you schedule with Safe by Autoglass, you get a text when we're on our way. You can see exactly when we'll arrive. I'm Michael with Safe Flight.
Thanks for coming. It's right over here.
Giving you a few more minutes for what matters most.
Safe Flight Repair. Safe Flight Replace.